Alright guys, what it do? This is a video that I've been meaning to do for quite some time now. Basically showing you guys how I have made my proxies. I'm not the best at Photoshop, so this is not going to be a comprehensive Photoshop tutorial. And a lot of it is actually work that has been done by Paulsnoops, and I think Aschefield is what his name is. I'm going to be showing you guys some resources. So basically, I'm going to throw a link in the description to get to this page. This is where I get all my templates, all the font guides, everything that you could ever really need to make a custom card. Basically, you go to the Pokemon Card Resources DeviantArt page, and over on the side here, you can get resources for every kind of card template that has been made over the years. If you want to make cards that are sort of being used nowadays, you just basically go into the X and Y sort of folder, and you can get all your blanks for basic Pokemon, Stage 1, Stage 2, whatever it be. This is also where you're going to get your symbol sheets. I'm going to go over that a little bit later, as well as your full arts. A lot of the text guides, however, are in the black and white folder, so you can find those in the black and white folder. I can't remember exactly which one I use, but for the full arts I use the black and white font guide by the Pokemon Card Maker Boy, and I want to say I used Flaming Claws' guide here for the normal cards. Anyways, jumping back to the card itself. So when you load up the template, you're going to have a lot of text over on the side here. When you first load this up, you're probably going to get a lot of errors for a lot of fonts that you'll need to install. You can just search on the internet for all those fonts. You can find them pretty easily and just install them. I'm not going to throw a link into there because a lot of them are actually licensed, but if you look hard enough, you can find them. The nitty and gritty of it is basically you just go down the list and enter in all the information that you want for your card. So, for example, I got a Mew from Fates Collide here. I did this as a sort of commission from a friend at Pokemon League, actually. She had created the art here that you see, and she wanted me to create a card for it. So I went and got all the information from the Fates Collide Mew, and basically just eyeballed it out. What you would do is you would go into like the card name. You can just double click the text here. You can type in whatever you want. So I just typed in Mew, went to a different layer, and there it is. When it comes to the images, basically you just go down to the very bottom and add a new layer. That's that button right down there. And you add two layers, one for the card template itself and one for the picture. Most of the text guides will contain a sort of font guide already with the template already in there. So basically, all you would do is, so if I say, for example, I wanted to make it a full art EX instead of a normal one, you would just drag the full art template down in there. We can hide the, actually I have to press enter first to commit it there. We can hide the basic template, and there you go, you have the full art. As we see, the image is not very big, so I'd have to stretch it out to make it go that far down. And so you can mess with that to make the images sort of work the way you want them to. On the bottommost layer, you would actually have your image. So, for example, I kind of just slid in the image that she had provided me, and there it goes. She didn't really quite like the look of the full art cards, so that's why we're using the basic template here. To make all the symbols and stuff, basically you would come by over here. You're going to run into this with like the weakness and resistances a lot, and you would just grab your little selection tool, right? And so if it was fighting resistant, for example, you can just select it, do a Control-C to copy it over. You can go back to your card. If you want to be clean about it, you can actually make the layers where you should want them, but after that you kind of just move it around wherever you need. With the way the layers work, it's actually underneath the card, so it's not a good example, but basically I just moved the psychic one right there for the weakness. And we can delete that since we're not actually using it. The attacks and abilities are very much the same. You just find the attack and ability layers. They're going to be inside these folders, if you're using this font guide at least. And what you would do is, just like the name, you would just double click this and you can change the name of the ability. So if the ability was named something else, you could type it in right there, like that. But it's Memories of Dawn. Oops. When you use these templates, you're going to have to move the card text around. And the way you can do that is you can press Control to sort of zone in on what Photoshop thinks are groups of text. Or you can go to a specific layer itself. So say I want to get to the ability title, you can do that and use Shift to sort of snap it up and down, so you can move it up and down the way you need to. That's what I usually like to do because the card template itself has them locked in on the horizontal plane pretty well. And so you usually will have to move the attack text and stuff down to make room for the other text. Anything that you're not using, you can just hide the layer and it won't show up. So for whatever reason, the Mew card itself uses the sort of look of the 4 attack, the 4 energy attack, instead of the 1 to 3 energy attack, which I thought was kind of interesting. So you would basically, if you had a 1 to 3 energy attack instead, you can do that, and there it is. It kind of sets the spacing a little bit differently. As you saw, this is actually a 4 energy attack, which is not actually what I needed. I only needed 1. Again, you could just use your little select tool when you're on the layer itself. So I'm actually not on the layer. I need to go to the actual energy layer, which is this one right here. And you can delete the extra energy you don't need. So it had 4 energy. I only needed 1, so there you go. You can also do that with the other symbol sheets here. You would basically just line them up, and there you go. You can match the cost of the attacks. This is one thing I hadn't done. I hadn't done the holofoil thing, or the rarity, I should say, not so much the holofoil. And you can do that basically if you wanted to have the rarity actually be there. Again, you would just pop it right down in there, get it nice looking. There you go. Easy as that, actually. Here, let's, oops, line it up a little bit better. Oh man, I totally just grouped everything together. We don't want that. So let's go back to here. There we go. Line it up. And that's the nice part about Photoshop, is Photoshop will actually help line things up so it looks aesthetically pleasing. So while it might not be like one-to-one exactly the same as the real card, at just a glance, it's very similar. As you see, I'm swapping back and forth, and most everything is pretty much exactly how you would kind of expect it to be. You can play around with it as much as you want. Obviously, I'm not trying to pass it off as a real card, so I'm not going to try too hard. But basically, that's it. Pretty simple stuff. Anything that you ever need, you can get help from any of the guys here in this forum. They're all pretty friendly, and they're all very skilled at making fake cards, as you can see with some of these examples here, which totally blow mine out of the water. Since we're at the end of the thing, I wanted to go over to a channel that makes custom cards, and I'll throw him in the description as well. But his Scroll Customs, he makes some amazing cards. Definitely check him out. He has a really cool process that he uses to sort of simulate the texturing on an actual full art card. And he makes just some of the highest quality custom cards I have ever seen. So there you go. That is pretty much the bare basics of how I do it. Again, I'm all self-taught. If anyone has a better way of doing things, I'm always interested in learning. So that'll be it. Ciao.